Happy 2022.
Oh my God, happy 2022. Oh my gosh.
This was like the coolest Christmas present ever.
I love this. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to hear about the coolest Christmas present. But first, in case you don't know, I'm Wendy Stuart, and this is...
And I'm Tym Moss. Hi, and this is If These Walls Could Talk. And happy 2022, everybody. Yay!
Oh my God. And thank you, Teresa Sabin, for saying happy first show of 2022. That really made me feel good. This is actually my first show of 2022.
Mine too. Mine too.
That is so cool. This is like a maiden voyage show. It's like when today I'm feeling it's like when the Titanic took off, right?
Pretty much so far.
It's been like that. Oh my God. We did have our share of technical difficulties today, ladies and gentlemen, and who knows what's going to happen in the next hour, but you know what we say, we go with the flow. And now here's Tym Moss to tell us about his very special holiday gift.
Well, I do a show called Comedy Sex Show, and we shoot it out at Brick out in Brooklyn normally, but we haven't been able to since the pandemic. They've been closed down. Well, my co-hosts had taken this course and they found out that they're offering virtual reality out there. So they got me this virtual reality, the Oculus, and you go inside and it's incredible. It's so ridiculous.
What happens? Are you having like sexual experiences when you put that on, Tim?
Not yet. I haven't found the homosexual sites yet.
Okay.
But, like riding roller coasters and I went through this Jurassic Park thing and I've, with leopards and this other one, a zoo.
Oh
and it's incredible. And they're just like right in front of you and all around. It's really remarkable.
Now I've heard all about this.
This is the next level internet. This is what you've heard Facebook is going to the metaverse. They've changed it to meta. This is what they're talking about. This is the metaverse.
That's the metaverse. And Tim, do you know like where like the common folk like myself can pick up one of those?
Oh, I imagine everywhere is probably selling them now, like Best Buy and all of that. And what's really cool is I received this before Christmas. And what I did was I was playing around with it or testing it out. And I went into this room. It was like a hotel lobby. And there was like maybe 6 or 7 people scattered throughout. And there was people from all around the world. Like one guy I think was from Italy and somebody else was South America. And we could all talk and hear each other and see each other's avatars. And
oh my God, that's room. Wow.
It was incredible. Well, then after Christmas, like the day after Christmas, I went back in there and it's like it's packed. So a lot of people got these for Christmas and the metaverse is already getting crowded.
Right.
Really
well,
cool. Really cool.
I think, Tim, with what's been going on lately, everyone's going to have to be in the metaverse. They're telling us for the next couple of weeks, right? Because Omicron has really raised its ugly, ugly head.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, it has. And we're back to this. So, but again, I'm okay. Yeah, we'll survive it. We're okay. So.
Well, you'll survive it because you're going to find out how to have sex with that device on your face. Let's face it. It's all about you at the end of the day.
But it's so weird because you can see your hands. I met Lola, one of my co-stars, in this world that she's building. We went into there and her avatar and my avatar, and we hugged each other, gave each other a virtual hug. And it's so cool. You can see your hands and pick things up. And I learned how to pick up a ping pong ball and a paddle, toss it and hit it. So, and it went off.
Oh my God. This is like, I totally have to get one of these. Did you have a fun New Year's Eve?
Well, I ended up having a very quiet one. I was supposed to go out to my friends in New Jersey, and at the last minute, her I guess stepdaughter had either I don't remember if she tested positive for COVID or was exposed to COVID. And my friend, she is autoimmune. She's got to be very careful.
The whole 9 yards.
And so she canceled it at the last minute. And I know you guys were hanging out downtown and it was too late for that. So I just stayed at home, watched some Twilight Zone and zoned out.
Well, our party of 10 turned into a party of 5. And it was lovely at Cafeteria. And then, of course, I wanted to ring in the new year at PANGEA. They did have a great show going on with Sid Meier. But I actually chose to stay at the bar with a couple of other people where we talked about going to Mexico and aquariums. These are the kind of conversations that we're having these days.
Yes.
But speaking of aquariums and going to Mexico, our next guest has nothing to do with that. How about that?
Not a thing.
Right, it's totally random. But our next guest I first met when he reached out and he told me he does these horror films and he like links them into these cookbooks where he has celebrities that have been on horror films or just celebrities in general. And it's a series of books called Cafe Himbo. And he asked me to, come up with a recipe. So myself and Jed Ryan came up with Nurse Jed's truffle coated chicken. That's what it was. And I got to meet this incredible guy who looked really good eye candy on the cover of the book. And then, of course, I got to meet him in person when he was bartending over at Rock Bar. And he looked just as good there.
Cooking some of the dishes, yes.
Right. And he was like cooking all his dishes, and you could see all his muscles. But I digress.
This man looks good on the cover of a book.
There you go. Something for everybody. So I am very excited to welcome today Joe Zaso. Come on down.
Here I am. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
I can hear me. It's like the
Tommy, right?
opera. The world of virtual reality is like the Tommy Rock opera. Yes, darling, I can see and hear you fine. I have temporarily lost contact with my co-host Tym Moss. But these are the things that happen. You know what? You have been involved in the world of horror, so we know that anything can happen to anybody at any time. Is this not true?
This is true. This is very true. Anything can happen.
So interested in your background, first of all, in horror films. I am a horror buff, but not a horror expert. The first film I saw that ever made an impression on me was The Last One on the Left. Do you remember that film?
Oh, yes. The original one. Yes. That's the Wes Craven one. Yes.
It was crazy. It was more like
disturbing. It was for its time, especially. It was unnerving.
Unnerving. So Joe,
ugly, but a good ugly.
How did you get involved in the world of horror films?
Oh goodness! Well, I was a frightening child. No. Actually, I've always liked horror movies, always. And in fact, my very favorite horror films is the original Omen and the original Suspiria.
Oh my God!
I'm a '70s child, but
me too.
And always loved horror movies. And it's funny because getting into adulthood, it kind of wore off a little because I got into other things. But I always had such an affinity for horror, and a lot of my friendships. Business colleagues that all happen to be somehow connected with horror, and they even started making them. And so, I'm not a dark. I'm wearing black, but I'm not a dark, devious person. But I find the macabre very, very compelling. So
I am exactly the same way. I'm back, by the way.
Stay here. Don't move.
Hey, it's just one of those technical days.
It is.
But oh my God, I'm the exact same way. I love horror movies, and because it's a safe way to go into these dark, scary places and come out okay. Right. Well, usually. But I heard you were saying your favorite was The Omen, and what was the other one? Because I love The Exorcist.
It's called Suspiria. It's Italian, but Joan Bennett in it, and Jessica Harper. But the original, not the new one.
Yeah, exactly. That was fabulous.
I think it's frightening. I think it's fun, but I think Time Magazine said it's about as frightening as a bowl of cold ravioli. But I guess depends how you look at it.
But I've got one for you to watch called Frontiers. Have you seen that? It's a French movie.
No, but I think vaguely I've heard of it. But
I'll
send you the link for that, because that I think you would appreciate too.
Send me the link as well, because I totally love this stuff. I started out talking about The Last House on the Left, which was more of a snuff film, but one of the scariest films to this day for me is The Others. Did you happen to see that?
Yes. I was surprised how the modern audiences were drawn to that, because it's such a slow, calm movie. It's not effect laden, and I was shocked that there were so many crowds that came out to that one.
But you know what it was, Joe? Let's talk about shock value, right? In that particular film, they had, the pictures on the walls of these families that had lived in that house. And you didn't realize when they were all propped up on that couch for the family picture, none of them were breathing. That was the thing. And that was the big hook in that movie. And I got to tell you, I'm talking about it now and it's like, ooh, it's still, it's
atmosphere and suggestion, which is something we all seem to forget. It's all got to be, everything's got to be loud and visceral and, effects. And sometimes just the simplest things can be the most frightening. Even I say when you want to scare somebody, it's not about what you look like. It's all timing. It's all, just that one split second, and that does it. So that's why I always say to people, it's like, it's not about the, the gore and such.
And the thing that I liked about the others and the Sixth Sense was that reveal at the end.
Yes,
changed the whole perspective.
Spoilers.
Changed the whole perspective of the entire film. And actually, I've got an idea for a film like that. We should talk. We need to talk. I've got ideas for all kinds of movies. So,
you guys should totally talk about that. So, when you were a little kid, you said you developed this interest in the macabre as you got. I was interested in the other side from the time I can remember. Mm-hmm. I think because I grew up in a house with a Scotch-Irish mother who there would be a knock on the door and she would say, someone just died. Or the phone would ring and you would pick it up and there would be nobody there. And if it were someone that we knew that was sick, she would say, so-and-so just died. So I grew up thinking that was normal. Now, what affected you growing up that took you on this path?
I mean, I was raised Catholic. I'm Italian Catholic, but I don't follow as much as I used to. But I will say this little superstitions, like even to this day, my mom's always telling me, like, if you find a dime in the street, that means someone's watching over you. Most likely one of your dear departed, things like that.
It was a quarter. Okay, I was still the
quarter. Boy, everybody has it seems to change. I used to be that your pennies heads up, pennies face down. No, but now with the economy, you take it anyway. Right. Everybody makes their own rules up every 2 minutes, but I hear all different things. I hear like they used to say, when it was thundering, the angels are bowling, all kinds of something like that. But I mean, to a certain extent, I'm a little superstitious about certain things. I mean, there I am New Year's Eve eating my lentil soup because I know it's gonna make everything magical, like this incantation. But to a certain extent. I mean,
I don't know this about lentil soup. Tim, did you know this about lentil soup?
Well, I heard either lentil soup and what was it? Black-eyed peas. Black-eyed peas.
I've heard about herring. Some people do herring. I've heard somebody say a pastrami sandwich. I don't know, but whatever works for you. But But there I am at New Year's Eve, and there I am at midnight clutching money and all my handwritten resolutions because I was going to all the powers and forces are going to zap you at once. So you have to wait. So I guess to a certain extent, and there I am. I don't find ghost stories. That's why you were just saying that ghost stories don't affect me, and I don't believe so much in haunted houses, even though that's like the essence of all the things. But I'll believe in that. So go figure.
Wait, you don't believe in haunted? Oh my God, I live for hauntings.
I do all these documentaries all about this haunted place and haunted, and I'm right. Currently, I'm editing a book on the Amityville horror movies for author Brian Norton, and I'm hearing all about haunted, like all the couple that did all the I forget, their name escapes me for the moment. But they talk about all these hauntings, and I'm just like, to me, it's like I don't believe one word of it, but I believe the lentil soup, so I don't get it.
Wow,
that just makes sense.
I got a dichotomy going on here with you because
I'm complicated. I'm a Scorpio. I'm complicated.
With blood and guts and coming back from the dead, right? For you, it's a totally separate genre than ghosts. Wow. Why do you not tell me why you don't believe in ghosts?
It's funny because I believe like in the present, I believe in karma and all those kind of things. But I think it's just because I think it might be mass hysteria. For some reason, like a house with a ghost in it, something there I don't get. But I believe there are forces elsewhere for some reason. I don't know. I think that's how I seem to think. Like I don't believe I know I'm going to probably get shot, but I don't believe a house can be haunted, but then again, it can.
For me, there's no doubt there are ghosts. Yeah. Ghosts do exist. I've experienced a couple of them, which was very creepy. Mm-hmm. But I just feel that we're made up of energy, and sometimes, like if you're taken out and you don't realize you're dead, people can linger, or something has to be done, so they will linger around and roam around until until it's satisfying.
Tim, that is exactly. They don't make it over to the other side. Like I worry about that with myself. Do you ever that too? This is what happens like when if it's my time, because I know how I am, you know, forever young, I'm going to be dancing for forever. Yeah. What if I'm not ready? And then
honey, just keep dancing.
You think people are just ignoring you with it because you know you're not there to them. No. That's you don't realize it.
Oh my God. Along that line, have you seen the CBS show called Ghosts?
No.
I highly recommend it. But even more so, I recommend watching the original British Ghosts. It's hysterical. Oh my God, so funny.
But is it true? Does it have a basis?
No. It's totally fictional. It's about this manor the original is about this manor out in the countryside of England. And just over the years, they even have a Neanderthal who had died on the property and is still hanging around. And then you have people throughout history.
It does ring a bell. That's starting. I see so many things that don't always associate the names with it, you know, the titles. But I think I have seen this.
Oh, it's great! It's hysterical.
It's coming out of my subconscious.
This couple that moves in the first episode, she falls down the stairs and dies briefly, and they revive her, and now she can see ghosts. So she's the only one that can see them all, and they're constantly.
Kind of a part of both worlds. You kind of took some of it with her. That's what it is.
That's what it is. It's a foot in both worlds. Wow, that was really
hysterical. But really I'm sorry, I didn't mean to dominate there.
No, that's. I definitely want to see this show. And you know, Joe, I want to ask you this. Okay, you have you've done scripts for horror films, right? And you've been in horror films. What from all of your creative background with horror films, give us some examples of the most challenging situations you've been in?
Oh boy, there's only one word for that. It's Nikos, which is it was a German horror movie, very, very campy. I mean, very campy, that I line produced and acted and did about 10 other things for. It was shot in America, but it was without a doubt the most challenging and I would say almost suicide-inducing work I ever did, because it was a monstrous undertaking. And the movie is, I mean, it's like Ed Woodian, but it's fun, but it's extremely gory. But that was definitely the challenge of a lifetime.
Which part? Being the line?
I would say definitely more being the line producer. I mean, I was doing a lot of other things. The acting part, that was the easy part, you know. But I was also assisting with costumes and driving people around. But the line producing was hard because you had to make so many people happy, and you had to deal with like all kinds of things going wrong, and this goes wrong and that goes wrong, and the hours were 27 hours a day.
You were the perfectionist. So you were the fireman. You were running around putting all the fires out.
Yeah. When you're dealing with a million personalities, I mean, you can deal with it, but it just seemed more aggressive than usual, and it was just really tiring. But it was, people laugh and have fun with it, but it had too many scars it left. But I'm laughing now, but it was made almost 20 years ago, and I wasn't laughing then. But now, you kind of come out of the smoke.
Joe, are you aware of the language you've used? You use monstrous. You use scars.
Visceral as well as visual.
It's totally with you all the time. So on any of these sets that you've worked on, I had another friend that made a horror film, and weird things happened on that set. I want to hear about weird things that have happened to you. Explain.
Exactly. I wouldn't say anything supernatural happened on the set, but I mean, I've had so many. I've worked in different parts of the world. I've worked with so many different people. I think the anecdotes I've obtained are far more fun than the movies themselves. But I mean, I've had just I have described as just bad weather and having to just. Well, I will say this: when I did film in Italy, we filmed twice in a crypt, a real crypt.
Wow!
And it's funny, a crypt. There they are, say downtown Rome. There's just one there, and I remember it was springtime. It was nice and warm outside, but you go down a few stories in the darkness, and it's freezing. But I keep thinking to myself, God only knows what went on down there. I mean, anything could be happening. It could be corpses in the walls. It could be, creatures in the dark you don't see, but I'm thinking that's what was fascinating. But I kept thinking there's got to be some history here. Just maybe you're not seeing it or feeling it, but you're right there. I mean, it's like,
But you don't feel, Joe, you didn't, oh my God, Tim, I would have, like, the hairs would have been up on the back of my neck.
You're right. Oh, it could do it to anybody.
I would have been immobilized. Okay. It's interesting. You went down there and you knew things could have happened, but none of it was affecting you.
The claustrophobia alone, I mean, you're like so many layers down. It's
right.
That in itself could do it. I mean, I am claustrophobic, but that didn't feel it that much because it was I guess because it was too open, but it was, now in retrospect, it's funny. I guess things don't faze me because even like at nights when I'm walking back from the bar or whatever, and on Saturday nights, and you being New Yorkers, you would know this, you see rats going back and forth.
That's so
and you don't think anything of it. Most people be like freaked out, but they're just like, yeah, hello, goodbye.
The other night I was walking home and a couple rats ran out and I was just like, yeah, whatever. Hi, how you doing? Get home safe.
Okay, I'm going to close the two of you out, but there's a section of Central Park, which you both may know, called the Rambles. And during the pandemic, and still now, the main people that are in there are the bird watchers, and some of those people come with bird seed. My daughter and I often go there at around 4:30 when the birds really come to feed. And this is so sick and crazy, but we really got to personally know Mama Rat with her baby. Was part of, I don't feel the same way about rats that most New Yorkers do. The two of them would come, Mama Rat and her baby would come every day. And they would sit up like, I'm sorry, I know everyone who's watching this is going to go, Wendy's lost it. But they would sit up and they were part of this flock. And they were extremely polite, by the way. And rats are highly intelligent. So I just want to give a shout out there to all the New York City rats that people badmouth. They're highly intelligent creatures. I know they carry germs. You don't have to touch them. But you know what? They're living their best rat life here in New York. Let's hear it.
And you're the rat lady, not the cat lady. You're the rat lady. You love her.
Rat lady. Joe, I need
put them on your hand, sing to them, cool to them.
So, I love
like a Disney movie like this, just singing to them.
Roll over, do all that.
Oh my God. So Joe, you have been cooking for how long?
Oh, since childhood. I mean, professionally, like for the real paying public, I mean, maybe about maybe 10 years or so. But but I've always had a thing for it. And it's definitely hereditary because every person in my family, no matter who they are, old, young, they all cook. We don't all do, mechanical things, but cooking, definitely.
I was just going to say, you're Italian, right?
Yes, I am.
That is just part of the culture.
Yeah, right, Tim?
The thing in your blood, you just love to do it. Some people, I can understand, some people get older or whatever, they get tired of it, and I can understand why they want to, let somebody else do it for once. But no, you just find it. It's weird. You just find yourself wanting to cook for, not necessarily eat, but cook for somebody. It's like I don't know how it's like. Did you eat dinner? It's like that kind of thing.
Oh, right. As soon as you walk in the door, have you eaten? Are you hungry? Sit down.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Italians a very nurturing culture. So obviously, you realized at a young age. You grew up around food being love, and that was transferred to you. That's a really great thing. It's interesting. Yeah, Tim, go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, now, do you have like a signature Italian dish that you make better than anybody else in the family?
I kind of just, there are dishes that my family have made. This one thing, and my brother makes these very well, but my grandmother's one is called spadinas, which is in the cookbook. And they're basically a fried meatball with breading on the outside and a cube of cheese on the inside. And this is something we just grew up eating normally. They're not made with special oils. Just they're just regular. And they used to make them with the toothpick through them. Now we just don't do that part. But that's one of those staples. Trying to think of other things we used to do. Any kind of lasagna.
By the way, I've had this spadina. There's a place out in Pennsylvania that's not there anymore. They made that. It was out of this world. They also made the rice bowls.
Yes, we do that. Oh, yeah.
With the cheese. Tim, you haven't lived. You haven't lived.
Oh, yeah. I think the only thing I could say that I do differently with is I just use, I don't like regular pasta, so I'll make like chickpea pasta. That's really the only, updating to it.
Right.
You know, I think I think skip the skim milk cheeses and things. I mean, if you're gonna do it, just do it. You know, don't use tofu. Just eat it. If you can't, just eat a little, not too much. But if
Yeah.
you transform it too much, it's not going to be. You know, then there's
So you've translated some of the Italian dishes into more healthy things, because chickpeas are certainly not, part of the Italian diet.
not right now, no. Especially edamame pasta and all the red lentil pasta. But
Right.
but I just think I just like it. I think it digests better. It feels better. But but it's great. You can make lasagna with those things. You can do the same things you normally do. Just do with a different pasta. It's like updating.
Yeah,
Mhm.
or substituting. So where did this series of cookbooks, and I want to hear about why you chose to call them Cafe Himbo, and when you started your first cookbook, because that was so interesting to me when you called me out of the blue, and I'm like, who is this guy who's doing this cookbook, and he puts people from other horror films in the cookbook with their recipes?
It's just one evolution after another. I'm about to celebrate my 11th year doing this. And it was all one chilly Sunday afternoon. I won't bore you. I'll make it quick. But basically, I was very into cooking. I wanted to start a cooking blog, like a blog of some sort. And then I decided to do it on Facebook, and just do it there. And I had to come up with a name. And I thought to myself, I said, well, there are people in the press that call me a horror himbo from all the horror films I've done. So I said, how about Cafe Himbo? And that it just one of those little things. It stuck, and it kept rolling and rolling. And then at that time, I had just done one of these horror conventions in Jersey. I think it was Chiller. And I know a lot of people who work in horror films. And I said to myself, why don't I do little featurettes, like 10 minutes, with the guests coming on the show, talking about their careers and their lives, and we'll cook something together. The only difference is it really became more of a recipe variety show, because you didn't actually see me cooking anything. You just saw me run off and come back with the finished product. People say it's the best cooking show without any actual cooking.
There's no time. Like, I did pandemic cooking with Wendy, and everyone's like, how do you do this stuff so quick? Well, I just cut out a lot of there's no time.
All that stuff. And some skeptics are like, oh no, that's not the way to do it. No, you have to show us, and you have to have everything. It's kind of
boring.
It's silliness. It's funny. I always say the same thing with the cookbooks. If you know Big Daddy's restaurants in the city, if they had a cookbook, that would be something like Cafe Himbo is. It's kind of just nostalgic. It's fun. It's silly. It's a little of everything, but it's not meant to be a threat to Emerald or anybody else. It's just and there's no. I mean, it's a cookbook, but it's not proper. All those things that you'd find in, say, like Mary Berry or Gordon Ramsay, all those things.
Gordon Ramsay or any of.
You have to use 3 rosemary leaves exactly, and because I cook like that, like a dash of this and a toss of that, and a squirt of that. And
how many rosemary leaves though do you use, Tim? That's important. It can change everything.
It's a dash, a pop, whatever.
Typical anecdote, a reason why you don't use too many rosemary leaves. What will happen, or what has happened to someone? I know some of the people from the original Suspiria had recipes in one of the books, and they would give me the recipes, but they would say things like, you need a tomato kissed by the sun, and it must be, and I'm writing them back going, is it vine ripe, or is it plum, or what are we talking here? And they're just like, they're so poetic. And then everybody has their own way of, and some people gave me the most intensive directions you'll ever see. It was like the joy of cooking kind of directions. So everybody has their own way of cooking. So I mean, some people they say the best chefs don't measure. I guess
I got a tomato kissed by my ass. How about that?
There you go. That's the sun. I think it's interesting that when people, I never thought about this till you said it, when people are submitting their recipes, how it reflects their personalities.
Definitely.
Right?
Oh, yes.
And the way that they cook.
And
of course, the Italians from Italy, a European would say a tomato that was kissed by the sun.
The one, I'm not putting any ahead of the other, but there's one particular contributor to my book. She's actress Lynn Griffin from Canada, who's been in Black Christmas, and she's on the Hallmark movies. And I told her she herself should have her own cooking show or cookbooks, because she's so animated. And she gives directions that make you want to cook. She's so she's encouraging you, like, yes, you want to do that. Don't use a rolling pin. Use like when you make pie crust, use a wine bottle full of ice water and turn. So she. So I'm thinking that's how she does it. her way of doing it, just encouraging. And some people, it's just like, yeah, just, throw this and no measurements. And,
inspirational, right? A cooking show should be inspirational. I would like to think when I did Pandemic Cooking with Wendy, and that is coming back, that it did inspire people, but it mostly inspired people to like look at my costumes and my makeup, because
if that's the lore, if that gets you in there, fine. And then maybe while they're there, they'll stay to really listen to what you're doing. It's like
my friend John Henry said to me, Wendy, let's face it, it's not really a cooking show, it's a drag show. I'm like,
cooking along the way. Well, that's that would probably make it more fun. It's like when you think about it, even people like Rachel Ray, all these other people. I mean, when they have shows, it's really you are there to cook and learn, but it's for entertainment value.
Right. Yeah, but do you enjoy watch? I can't even handle. They're just too long, and like you said, with the 3 rosemary leaves, I want to put a gun to my head. You like that show?
The thing is that Wendy is not really a cook. That's what's so great about it. It's the first time I was one of her first guests on the show, and we went to cook something and opened the oven, and it was stacks and stacks of Condé Nast magazines. That's
I was going to say shoes. I was going to say that. That's what.
This is brilliant.
I'm a sensible girl, Tim. Tim, what did we make? We made
it was a pasta. Pasta with meat and mushroom and and I think you threw some olives in there, and we just.
Like, you remember what we put
in
there?
Tasty.
And you did a good job. Notice what I said. You did a good job, Tim. That's the whole idea with my guests on there. I make them work.
It can be work. I mean, it's have to be organized, but it's work. Yeah.
Right? Cooking is work, but you know what? We always say it's fun doing it with a friend. Now, when you were recruiting people for your cookbooks, Joe, what kind of relationships did you have? Was anybody saying to you, "Oh, I don't have time for this," or was everybody jumping on the bandwagon to be part of Himbo?
I would just ask as many people as I knew they would probably be interested, or any celebrities or people that, like genre people. And I'd say it was 50-50. Some people say, "Oh, I burn water. No, you don't want me." Or my idea of cooking is popcorn at the movies, And then some people are like, "Oh, I can't give you enough recipes." It's like, some people are like, "Sure, why not?" They get a kick out of it. But a lot of people were, I would say, strictly as 50-50, or some people just didn't have time, and then there's some that are regulars in each and every one of the 7 cookbooks. They come back like a repertoire. It's like, yes, it's that time of the year, that time that Joe makes another cookbook, and they say, what are we going to unveil this time? And that's always fun seeing what they have to do. So, because a lot of the cookbooks aren't really themed. I mean, like, only one was really a dessert cookbook, but the rest were all just kind of love everything. So it was always curious, like, what are they going to give me now? And they, it's like, and then sometimes they give me, like, 3 people gave me such similar recipes. I'm like, can one of you give me something a little different? I know it's all bolognese or meatloaf, and we have 70 meatloaf recipes. Can we do a little something else? So chocolate chip cookies, what makes it different?
Maybe some salmon here and there. Come on.
Meatloaf, even when I would research stuff for my show just through Googling, meatloaf always like popped up. Why do we think that meatloaf is it because it's a comfort food?
It is. It was in my comfort book. But a lot of people, and it's all different kinds. Some people like the traditional, like with the mashed potatoes and brown gravy and all that. But a lot of people love meatloaf. It's it sounds very déclassé, but to be honest, it's not. It's actually just. I mean, there's so many different ways you can make it, and you can do veal, you can do it this and that, and you can do it Italian way.
When I was growing up in the Midwest, it was a hearty meal that was not that expensive that could feed the family. Right. So it became a staple of American food or meal.
Absolutely.
Across the country.
Some people I know make it like a big burger, really. They just take the meat, they don't do anything to it. They just make one big globe-shaped burger, and they say throw some ketchup on it. And others, I mean, it can't be gourmet enough, They use,
Okay, my favorite
cheese and
is meatloaf surprise. That's the one with the egg in it. You're like,
yeah. My grandmother did it that way. Yes.
Your grandmother did it, but I was told that's German, but maybe it's just European.
My dad did it to be like just old. I was like their generation kind of thing. It's like the hard-boiled egg in the middle, and some people put mozzarella and barbecue sauce. I mean, that could work.
There,
Yeah,
there you go.
Fabulous.
some people wrap it, somebody put applesauce and bacon. I mean, however you want to do it,
Wow.
Wow.
But
Now,
the comfort foods are definitely, everybody's got their own, and I think that's the things that that's one of my favorite ways of cooking is just making things that make people happy instead of trying to
yeah.
just impress, or it's because you want to enjoy what you're eating and not just oh, it's pretty to look at, but
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you want something tasty, something fun,
Ooh.
something, yeah. A combination of things. Eating should be a pleasant experience. Yeah.
Oh my God, my mouth is watering right
Me
now.
too. I'm
Oh,
hungry.
speaking of mouth watering, I know because we're going to talk about everything here today. How do you keep that body of yours so buff, Joe?
Well,
I don't 51. I don't know.
We have time. Yes, Tim.
hold on just one second. I just wanted to say that everyone here, thank you for tuning in. You're watching If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our incredible and wonderful and very handsome guest, Joe Zaso.
We're about to talk about Joe Zaso's body.
Joe's body, yeah. Well, one thing that I found very interesting was when you go on set a lot, you have to bring your own shoes because you have very large feet, size 15, triple E.
15 wide. It sounds more fun than it is.
I just want to know, is it true what they say about your feet?
Yes, I have a big floppy pancreas.
Oh, that was a great comeback. Thank you for asking that, Tim, because I was going to ask that too. We want to know, but we found out that you're
and we found out he's got a big floppy pancreas.
There you go. I can get on with my life now. So, Joe,
do you work out a lot?
Yeah, do you work out a lot? I wanted to.
I do. I do my usual thing, and just just at the gym. I do lift a few of this and do mostly ab stuff because we are 51. We don't want things. You don't want fate to catch up with us.
Hang on a minute. Your arms are the arms of freaking death. They are so cut. So do not come
I'm
on
always
here
carrying things and lifting things for people, and I'm always throwing out bags of things. And
we want to know how many reps you do and how much you lift here today.
I do a quick little 45-minute workout. That's really, probably should be doing a lot more. Like, I don't do the deadlifts or the crazy stuff you really should be doing, but I just kind of do my own little thing and just just to tone. But I just can always feel in the back of my head, you gotta, like I said, I guess maybe we all fear death or fear fate, or you don't want cross over into another age range or something.
Oh my God, forbid, no. No crossing over.
Peter Pan syndrome, I guess. Maybe that's what it is.
Because I could tell that you lifted more than your fork to your mouth.
That was a good.
With all the cooking I do, I mostly sample. I'm not one of those. I don't chow down like I used to. I just because I know how it feels to to stuff yourself like that, and then you don't like that feeling, so you just you do things in moderation. So,
Absolutely.
But not everybody can do that. But I recently moved to near Union Square, and I moved from a 4th-floor walk up to another 4th-floor walk up, and I could just tell you the staircases. After doing all this stuff, believe me, that was a workout, and I didn't have to work out for like a month just because. At least for the bottom half, it's the legs and such. But it was, oh my God, that
up and down and moving.
No, I live on the 6th floor up in Washington Heights, and I walk over the bridge and back, over the George Washington Bridge and back for exercise, and I rehearse and stuff while I'm walking. Well, yesterday I went to walk over the bridge, and our elevator was out, and I was like, no. After I do 3 miles of walking and coming back and have to climb 6 more flights, I'm good. So I went out later after they fixed it.
Really tones the cooking. Yeah.
So Tim's not going to go out for days after this. There you go. You're like Rapunzel in the castle. You take supplements too. I have to say, I'm not trying to objectify you here, Joe. My daughter accuses me.
But when you pass a certain age, it's fine.
My daughter says I objectify men, and I don't. I appreciate somebody that isn't. You are in amazing shape. You do, you have it on the cover of your book. You've got on an apron and these amazing arms. And when I saw you at Rock Bar, when you were cooking and serving up there for Jed Ryan's birthday, same thing. Like everybody was talking about, my God, he looks great. So I appreciate what you do for yourself. And do you take supplements and things like that?
Maybe just creatine, some of that, but I
Wow,
and some protein, but I don't do like nearly what I should, like the crazy things a lot of the bodybuilders do. Like,
amazing.
really, no, I don't eat really as much processed food. I just kind of eat, healthy portions. I mean, maybe that's the best way to say what I do, but but I don't go to the whole, like, when they have these special kind of whey protein, this
You don't
building block and muscle mass. So that to me, it's so complicated, and you have to stay with it, and that stuff makes you feel sick after a while. So I just say,
Yeah.
just
What
do the
does
basics.
creatine do? Tell me. It sounds like creatine. I would like.
They,
What does it
when you
do?
increase in strength, it makes you look a little more. It helps you lift more, but gives the impression that you're a little more enhanced, maybe. But it
Oh,
really is just a supplement, and they say it's somehow. I think the way it sends water to your muscles, so you seem a little more intense. I think years ago, I think a lot of athletes used it, like Bubba, and it was off limits because it was considered, um, he disqualified them
Yeah,
basically.
like a muscle
But
enhancer or something. Yeah.
oh,
I
really?
mean, it's
Wow.
not a steroid or anything. It's like a muscle enhancer, but it just sends water to your muscles basically, but it also gives you more strength when you're lifting things and such, and maybe, like I say, it gives the impression more is happening than maybe it does, but it helps. It just gives you a little purpose.
It gives you like a little extra definition. Do we think?
I would think so. Yeah, we
Mhm.
give that, and just the fact that it gives you it encourages you to lift more. So I guess in turn that gives you more definition. So
There you
Mhm.
go, ladies and gentlemen. Our beauty tip for today:
I'm
little
no fitness instructor by any shape of the word. No fitness instructor. I can't even touch my toes.
little creatine in your diet. So, oh, I'm going to get a little personal here today. So, you are
Fishing. That's right. You
great
said
person, good looking guy. Have you been in long-term relationships? Have you been in a long-term relationship with someone else that cooked? Often couples that stay together cook together. I'm married to somebody that not only doesn't cook, he doesn't do anything, period. So I'm curious about you.
Okay, I have been in relationships where I actually have done the cooking and pretty much done all the cooking and such. But
Yeah.
yes, I'm always the one that is. So it's rare. It's rare that I get cooked for.
Right.
But I would say because I was gonna say I'm not in that respect. I'm not spoiled. I usually do all the cooking, so I'm the what do you call it? I don't get. I wish somebody would do the dishes once in a while. That would be nice.
Oh my God, me too. You know what I say with what you're saying? I say you're the one that drives the train. And here's where I'm going with this. Often when you're the one that drives the train, the people that you attract in your life are the people you end up doing things for. And I wonder if there's a way, and Tim, maybe you can help on this. How do we rebalance ourselves, right? So that we can get, partners or friends or whatever to chip in on things.
Well, that would be nice to, and again, I think it has to do. No, I mean, it would be nice to have someone to take over the controls of the
Yeah.
train rather than just picking up another passenger for you to drag.
I love that you use the word track. I love
But
it, Tim.
yeah, I don't know, because my perception and what I'm looking for has changed, and it's happening. It because I broke the cycle. I tried to break the cycle of and tried something different, tried something new and in a different direction, and that seemed to work for me. So
And let's talk about breaking the cycle. I like that. Did you use Joe and Tim knows this? I read a lot of self-help books. I'm not crazy, but I've read The Secret and that whole version of books, and because I'm always looking. I don't know, as a curious person, I'm always looking how I can make things better, right, for the people that I love, for myself, and the world. So, Tim, what did you have an epiphany? What was your turning point, and what did you do to support this
oh,
change in your life?
geez. Oh my God, I've had quite a few, because always early in my life, the first half of my life, I was so codependent and people pleaser, and I was always there to just make everybody else happy, and I
Oh,
would
yeah.
sacrifice, my happiness and my joy, until finally, once I started rehab, then the guy that I was with was wanting me to be what he wanted me to be. And I just kind of woke up and I was like, no, you can hit the road. I'm going to be me for the first time in my life. That was a huge turning point for me.
Wow.
But recently, I was just kind of like, the media is constantly telling us who we should be, how we should dress, what would make us happy. Like, oh, you want to look like this, so so be sure to buy our membership. It's all sales, and they're constantly putting like, oh, you want to be the model type, oh, you need this type, you've got to look like this, you've got to act like that, buy this, buy that. And it's so confusing. And what I have been working on is clearing my mind of all of that and getting back down to what do I find attractive? What do I like? And what do I really want in my life? And that's been very challenging. It's been very difficult, but it's working. It's working. So I'm trying not to fall into that, because like, for example, one of the things is that the shaved, where did that come from? A few years ago, everybody just decided that they had to shave everything. And I'm like, but I like a man, I like, somebody who's got some hair here and there.
You like a big hairy man.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right.
But all of a sudden that was the thing. They were saying, oh, this is what you have to look like. This is what you have to look like. This is what you have to look like. And I'm like, why?
Right.
And trend anyway, it's gonna be gone before you know it,
Right,
so it's
right. But it's lasted for years. So I don't know. I'm just trying to rediscover what I like and what I want and who I want to be and all of that. So the authenticity. Here we go. All of that to say authenticity.
So do you find that as an actor, you have those kinds of pressures on you as well?
Well, it's very hard not to be a people pleaser. I mean, I think it's just the essence of things. No matter how much you try, I mean, to some extent you have to people please a little. I'd say you have to placate. I'd say some people are very good debating and very good at placating, but it's just something. Sometimes by nature you do it. I mean, we all like to make people happy. Not all, but we like to make people happy. But you can't do it to the point where you're completely, emptying yourself out. I mean, it's I guess the old habits die hard, but it's just I definitely think one of the keys to I would say self-help or is to not let, and then I was gonna say insane, but there are too many individuals out there. When I say individuals, I mean they march to be their own drummer, they have their own mentality about things, and you can't let those people dominate or control or dampen you, because that will tire you and age you quickly. So
absolutely,
you have to be a good, I would say, disciplinarian, and just kind of like know when you can
boundaries,
give in, and know when you're not, nope, go away, keep going, don't, nope. Go away.
And boundaries are your friends.
In fact, that's where I was looking for boundaries.
Yeah.
Yes. Have you found that, like, when you're working on a set, because you brought up that German film that you did, and it sounds to me like you had to deal with a lot of insanity. How does one do that when one is producing?
It's very, you have to keep your cool, as they say, don't let them see. There was no commercial for deodorant, don't let them see you sweat.
Don't let them see you sweat,
but
right?
You can't. Also, another thing is you can't get excited, you can't get upset or angry. You have to be very, very objective, and that's tricky, because that's going to be the rock. That's going to be the thing that holds everything together. If you get dramatic, if you can't, they say it's very hard when you have a lot of type A personalities on set, because one of you can't be, and you have to be the kind of the objective I would say the voice of reason, or the smart, sensible one, whatever you want to call it. But that's the hardest thing, is keeping, almost like being customer service. You have to be very,
I think that's very well put. Not almost. I love doing this show, because I take things away from my guests. I get things, I learn things. That's really great. And Tim, you too, right? We have to do that. We have to be customer service.
And I have been in that situation too, with production, where you're doing a dual role, and you're running around and you're doing this and you're fixing that and you're doing that and you're doing that. Then you got to take that hat off and put on the acting hat, and you've got to go into a character, and then that hat comes up and the other hat comes on back on. Oh my God, it's so
And you have to satisfy so many people along the way. It's nearly impossible, but you just have to find a way that I won't say compromise. We have to find a way that everybody can be on some level of balance, But one thing, because I watch a lot of BBC, I said you almost have to be very like a British butler. You have to be that kind of, singer, and you have to be, just that kind of mellow, neutral, objective.
Absolutely.
But quite right, sir. Quite right, sir. You can't, get dramatic with everybody else because then nothing will get done. Everybody will be demolished. They kill each other.
But I think you just brought up something. You can't get dramatic. I think that has to be part of your personality. Tim, I see how you are when you deal with people, and it is part of your personality to stay the course and juggle it and don't let them see you sweat. Mm-hmm. Joe, I know you have you're a sunshine. You're a ray of sunshine from the time when I first spoke to you on the phone. And then when I saw you in person. And I think, was Joe as a little kid, were you like this happy little kid?
Oh, yeah, I would never call myself dark or cynical. I mean, I've never been like that. I mean, only my films are dark, that kind of thing. But I'm not one of those people that, I have an axe to grind with everything and, martyr complex, all those things. But I think I tend to be a very glasses half full person. I maybe not like Rose Nyland on the Golden Light, like that kind of cheerful. But I think it's really counterproductive when people are just negative, because it takes energy to be negative, and it sucks energy away from people to be negative. So I'm not saying you have to be cheerful, but you have to have like a sense of humor about things. You have to be pleasant. You can't let things weigh you down. So you just kind of, after a while, I think you just learn how to deal with things and you realize what's a big deal and what's not a big deal and what you should get worked up over. And you find there's very few things you should get worked up over, because it's, some things are out of your control and some things are just not worth going crazy over. You just have to let some things be and let some people be. So I think that's what happened. I think just life lessons you've learned after a while what is going to be priority and what is really not.
And one thing I found is the only thing I can change is me. I cannot change other people. Mm-hmm. I can just change me, my actions, my behavior, and my environment.
That's exactly right.
But thank you, everyone, for tuning in to If These Walls Could Talk with your host, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our amazing and wonderful guest, Joe Zaso. Joe, we've got a few comments I just wanted to touch on.
Absolutely.
Ike says, I love you and Happy New Year. Teresa Stephen is watching. Just 1 second. Teresa said something very funny in our conversation. Oh, she goes, rats can be domesticated.
I love Teresa.
Jenny Bookwalder says, now I'm hungry. Joe Preston says, you need to write your memoir before you die so somebody else doesn't screw it up. LOL. Marty Albutcher says, my mom put hard-boiled eggs in it. I'm guessing I forget, was that the...
That was a meatloaf with the hard-boiled egg. Yeah, Marty's a good friend. Hi, Marty.
Yes. And just 1 second. Where was it? Cecile Williams.
Things, I'm wondering what they say.
Cecily Williams, such good advice.
Yes.
Great guest. Cecily, we love Cecily to death, although she's never cooked for me.
Yes. So
Tim, we have somebody from Greece also. Is this one of your friends, Joe, that tuned in?
Oh, wait.
I don't know, but if it's something nice, Evcharisto, I can tell back.
Kapnosa is the last name, Kapnosa? I can't.
Maybe just not by let to see a face, or maybe you just, it's something name doesn't.
And
I love knowing around the world. I was just saying,
this is
lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you everybody
for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
Oh, and Jenny Bookwalder, after all of this, says, I'm eating tomato soup.
Yes.
Yes.
That is with grilled cheese.
After my own heart.
Now, Joe, I just wanted to say I wanted to touch on one other thing, which so you start and you also, in addition to film and cooking and everything, you also did theater. You starred as Mark Anthony opposite Charles Busch.
The wonderful Charles Busch. That was a wonderful experience. Very brief. It was but it was wonderful.
I love Charles. He is absolutely amazing.
He does. It's hard not to love. He had a recipe in one of my cookbooks for vaudevillian ratatouille. He was one of the ones that just even measurements of everything that will do the trick.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a charming, very, very. He's a positive soul also, and
so
inspirational. And I was in one play for him, and then a long time ago, before I knew what a Charles Busch was, I was in something called Red Scare on Sunset, Red Scare on Sunset that he wrote. And I had no idea what a Charles Busch was. I was just this, naive 22-year-old
How
playing the
fabulous.
lead. And I didn't know anything about this whole, mystique. And it was one of the most enjoyable experiences I've ever had. I still remember every bit of dialogue. And if ever you come across this play, Red Scare on Sunset, grab it. It is so much fun.
That's really fabulous.
Go
Were
see
you
it,
a
and go see it.
theater major, Joe? Were you a theater major in college?
No, I like communications. I studied film and
Okay.
television, advertising, and all that. And then I got into more acting just around the time I was graduating. So I kind of went like one of those, But I'm not. I've been in a lot of musicals, even though I can't sing or dance to save my life. Maybe in my dreams I do. But and then I had smaller parts in the musicals and bigger parts in the not musicals. So, but yeah, but theater is still the best training, I think, as far as acting. So I think that's definitely true. And but yeah, then it's yet to play into the role of a lifetime. We'll see what happens.
Yes, absolutely. Tell us now. Also, in the New Jersey Devils games, the hockey.
Yes, as the mascot for a commercial. 2 of them.
That's so cool, and it played during the games.
For the Prudential Center that was new at the time, it was brand new, and they were opening, and this is the thing that opened the thing, and it all happened simply because these makeup guys that had worked with in other films had been hired by whomever for this piece, and they say, "Oh, we know this person. We have his head cast. He has red contacts." So that's one of those jobs that just happened because they happen to know the right people, and a lot of them happen that way.
But I was going to say, Joe, you just brought up something, and Tim and I talk about this all the time. We try and work with our friends, as you know, it just makes for really great chemistry. You all have each other's back. And for me, that's always the best situation. I can't always do it, but it's always, the best situation. We love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, I would love to do some filmmaking storytelling with you.
Yeah.
Oh, seriously.
It would be fun.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm going to make that personal request that I sometimes make, but we know each other intimately enough.
So take your shirt off.
Now, can you show me Rusty?
Right here I can't because he's not with me. But I have to give you a picture. But yeah, Rusty Jones, they love to call him. Yes, he's my little blah blah.
Rusty is now I'm into dog talk. Rusty is a Pomeranian.
He's a chubby Pomeranian. I think he might be part Chow. He's got like a Chow body with a Pom face, but he's
adorable.
He's a little heifer, but he's adorable. And the thing is, because he's getting older, he has that kind of attitude, like I'm old. What are you gonna do? Let me do what I want. I can do whatever you want. You're not gonna go ahead, beat me. I'll call the ASPCA. Right? It's like that kind of thing, And he knows, and he knows who the softie is. It's like, he's caving. He's caving.
Right? It's amazing how they know how to manipulate us, really.
Yeah, no. And I think for some reason, I think dogs always seem to know I'm the source for food. I mean, even at Rockwell or wherever, they see me in the streets, they see me carrying just any regular shopping bag, and they just sense he's got food in there, and they just they stalk you from across the street. They know. And
listen, dogs know. I have the same thing. Dogs know who they can work. The dog walkers in my neighborhood will be going past with a pack of dogs on the leash, and this is true. My husband's my witness on this. Those dogs, as they start to go past me, will stop and turn their heads. And Alan has seen this. My daughter's seen it, and they both why is that happening? Because they know. They just know.
Well, they're a lot smarter than we give them credit for. I'll tell you, they know. And but we got whether you have dogs, cats, rats, whatever you love, we got to have something because they do give us pleasure, and it's
They give you such pleasure. So I want to know what's on the horizon for you. What's next?
The moment, just working on this Amityville book that I mentioned called "For God's Sake, Get Out." So look for that soon. And
why did we choose you to do it?
Well, with that one, my friend Brian Norton is writing it, so he said I need help. So basically, I'm his editor. I'm doing the transcribing, everything, and the usual producer things to boot. So, and I know, it's one of those things where I know enough people already involved, so it's kind of like might as well. It's just it's only natural, but getting it organized and such. So it's gonna be interesting. I have to say, I think the anecdotes from all the people involved, the filmmakers, the actors, are far, far more interesting than the movies or the actual, crime, everything, all the crime and the hauntings and such.
But
They're so interesting.
You're working on this. This is what I have to know. You're working on this. You don't think for one moment that place isn't haunted as anything?
I think there may be a presence, but just the way it's all happening, it just sounds. There's just things that are too. They sound too convoluted. They tell me. I believe there might be a presence, but not necessarily like a malevolent force climbing out, to come and get people. Just something. I always say the same thing. The DeFeos were there, and then there was a Lutz family. So how come nothing seemed to happen before the DeFeos or after the Lutzes? I'm just curious about that one. That's like, why only those two families were victimized? It's like, it's like things like that kind of trigger your bullshit detector.
Oh, that's easy.
Right.
Because there's the people that see dead people like myself, and there's the people that don't see or feel any of it. And that's just the way it rolls, there
are people I know
you could spend the night in that house, Joe, and nothing would happen to you.
Oh, probably not.
I would do that with you. That'd be fun.
Tim just wants to sleep over.
I remember years ago, 10 years ago, it was for sale. I think it was 1.5 million or something like that. Yep. And they had my father had been a realtor, and there were all these photos of the house, and they said, but there's no pictures of the basement, there's no pictures of the attic, there's no pictures. It was all polished, and it was like saying, that's but I'm sure so many people would have wanted to go take a tour, and go around the house.
Right, exactly.
Without the groovy wallpaper that they had, that's just my personal opinion. I do believe there are forces and presences around, but just for some reason that particular situation still makes me kind of go like, it seems a bit fabricated, if you ask me. But
maybe the movie. In the presence, I got you to admit that there's forces that we can't control. I've been entire show to get you to say that. I need to know that you believe in that, Joe. I'm just kidding.
So, Joe, how can people find out more about you? How can they follow you?
Well, I see it's kind of going all on your skull there, maybe, but look at joezaso.net for the whole horrible story. And on there you can find links how to order cookbooks or Joe Zaso paraphernalia, as I call it. And that's pretty much that particular place is the place to start, or you could just go on Wikipedia, or you want to, but that's really it. That's nice.
Well, Joe, thank you so much. This was
so much fun. Thank you, and Happy New Year to you and all your listeners. Viewers.
We'll all have to get together at some point and just cook and laugh and talk and eat.
Yeah, I'm totally up for that, Joe. You know where to find me. I meet Jed and Tim. We all get together all the time. So, if you're in the city and you are free, just join us, Come join the party.
I've done it before. I would love to do it again.
Fabulous. That's what we want to hear.
Well, this is If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our wonderful guest, Joe Zaso.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.